Tony Robbins says this about happiness. If you don't know who he is, go check him out. Like, you'll thank me later. He says happiness is built off the foundation of progress. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode number 10. We're in our first double-digit number. That's pretty dope. I'm your host, Keanuisaiah, creator of the best vibe mixes. You guys can go check out the music, my life values, my book recommendation list, full episode, all of that stuff in the link in the bio. As always, though, the reason why I call it the exposed is because the main mission statement of this thing is to expose people to the right information. I've always just liked that. It just relates harder. Anyways, today the episode we're gonna be talking about is happiness. All right. So first of all, I'm gonna start off by saying this. I am not that kind of, however it may seem, however it may look like, or however I may be holding it up and anything like that. I am gonna be the first one to tell you that I am not happy 100% of my day, 100% of my life. It's just not how it is. Look, I might smile, I might, it's all part of it though. I choose to smile. I choose, and we're gonna get into the stuff, but I just want to preface it with that, saying that I don't wake up every morning shitting roses and pissing flowers. That's just how it is. Like, I'm not like that. But I've learned a bunch of stuff around happiness because just like y'all, man, like I go through some stuff too, and I just want to be able to just navigate it better because I know that it's always going to be some ups and downs in this life thing, right? But I just want to be able to stay in the middle of it so my ups aren't too high and my downs aren't too low. So there's a bunch of stuff that I've learned with this. Today I'm gonna be sharing some cool, really great stuff. But today I wanted to be talking about, and if you guys see me looking over here again on my notes, everything that I'm taking, don't mind me. All you guys gotta do is sit back, relax, take notes if you guys want to. I'm gonna be talking about the happiness formula, the unhappiness formula, and then some of the main ingredients that come into the meaning of life. All right. So with that being said, let's just get to it, y'all. All right. So first, we're gonna be starting in with the definition of happiness, right? If you were to search this up, just like limiting beliefs, to start it off with the definition and that, and then we go into some things to actually do and things to keep in mind. So just like with this, the happiness definition, if you were to look it up on Google, wherever you want, it says happiness, the state of being happy. I read that and I was like, all right, like that's not really helpful. So I went in into the people that I've started learning from. Instead of worrying about the Google and stuff, I started diving into other people that I know could give me some right tactical stuff that can actually help. And just like how I mentioned, the person in the very beginning of this is Tony Robbins, how I mentioned his quote. Tony Robbins, he's also in my life values. The very last thing he says is, the secret to living is giving. So he's that mother, he's that dude. He's the OG of all this stuff, and he's literally, just look into him, and like I said, you'll thank yourself later, but this is like what his idea, and like I believe it. Like I'm gonna take that truth, like I accept it for myself. I didn't have a general idea of what happiness was. Like, why not lean into this? If I didn't know, why not grab that? Like, we can implement it. That's how it should be, right? But anyways, I'll be talking about, so this all starts with this. So we had the agricultural revolution, right? The next would be the technological, or the industrial and then technological. Like I said, I barely graduated high school. Like, this is not even, I'm not focused on that, but so we have the agricultural, we have the industrial and the technological. And now for the first time ever, literally the first time ever in human history, 2020, in large populations of people, they generally have almost anything that they can ask for, right? In large populations of people on earth, they generally have almost anything they can ask for. They have the roof over their head, they have the food in their bellies, they have the people, they have the stuff to do and build, like they have that whole thing, right? But now, in the day and age we're in, we have billionaires blowing out their brains. The reason why is because obviously just because you're making a lot of money doesn't equal more happiness, right? And just that simple thing right there, and just understanding that alone is like, all right, the more money I make, the more happy. Understanding that people think this: happiness happens whenever I get X. I won't be happy until I get X. I won't be happy until I get that girl. I won't be happy until I get that job promotion. I won't be happy until I make an extra 5,000 a month. I won't be happy until I have the Pomeranian. I won't be happy with all that. Like I won't be happy until X, right? So just understanding that too. What they say is that whenever you were growing and learning about these types of things, the hardest thing is unlearning the stuff that we're taught. So a lot of times just a general idea is like, oh, I'm not gonna be happy until I get this, till I have $1 million in my bank account. And what happens, billionaires, they get $1 billion in their bank account, and then they go crazy because they don't have the fulfillment with like a friends and family and having all the different 7 equities of life up, right? I'll talk about that later on, but like you can't just have all this thing up here and lack over here, generally, right? So what I want to talk about, and actually you sent me a really cool quote too that goes in with this blueprint type stuff too. So shout out to you, you're awesome. And what it says is that what I'm bringing in, what I was telling you how it relates and stuff, is that we need to understand what our current blueprint on how we think life should be. This is like the whole thing, right? So understanding that we all have a pre-thought subconsciously of how we think life should be. Okay? Like we all have an idea of how we think life should be. Like I feel like I should be making money and a millionaire and have the Ferraris and have this thing, and that's my idea of success. Contrary to people's belief is that not all of us think like that. Not all of us want the Ferrari and everything. We just rather have like 2 kids, maybe on a farm next to the lake with the little golden retriever. Some of us have like, I want to be in the city, and like I want to be in the penthouse or whatever, or the white picket fence, and be able to do this and travel and all these things. The point is that we all have an idea of how we think life should be, right? This is all like Tony Robbins talking about. This is all, we all have an idea of how life should be. The happiness formula is this. The happiness formula equals our current life conditions matches our blueprint. So our current reality has to match our blueprint. Okay? The happiness formula means current life conditions is matching our blueprint, right? So that's the first thing we need to really understand. And this is what he talks about. And I'm, like I said, I'm going this in such a condensed, summarized way. Like I said, dip into it yourself. I'm just trying to expose some type of information that I've learned, and then you guys can run with it if it relates more, and then go into it more on your own. Like that's what it is. I'm just trying to give you the plate, and you guys can dig into it if you want, because I know a lot of people have already turned this off because happiness, like nah, like you know how it is. But happiness formula, current life conditions matches what your blueprint of how you think life should be. Boom. And like another thing, before we start getting into the opposite of the happiness formula is that your belief about how life should be in that area, right? So generally, if that's breaking more, health, fitness, money, all that type of stuff. So if you're generally meeting your expectations of what it should be, that's whenever we feel the most happiness. Scientifically proven and all this stuff. That's whenever we start feeling the most happiness and joy in our day-to-day lives. So that's why the foundation of happiness is equal to progress. He says it like this: progress equals happiness. So going into the unhappiness formula, thinking about it, so our current reality is literally where we're waking up, literally our physical body waking up, taking off the covers on us, putting our feet on the ground, whether it's a tile, carpet, whatever you're sitting. This is your current reality, what you're living right now. This is your current reality. That it took a while for me to even understand this type of thing. That's why I might be emphasizing a little bit more. It might be annoying, whatever. But current reality, that's where you put your feet on and wake up. So unhappiness formula is not matching your blueprint of how you think it should be, right? And if you're not matching how it's supposed to be, if you're not matching your blueprint, you will have disappointment, frustration, and pain. Sound familiar? I know it did for me. I was disappointed. I was frustrated, mad, waking up all the time, and then that's how that cycle kind of starts right there. And because a lot of times I figured out like people aren't people do it to themselves at the end of the day. We all do it to ourselves. Like we're all like our own worst enemy. That's why I said before, like the world is happening. We just got to figure out what's going on in here so then we can go out and play the real game. So like I said, the happiness formula is your current life condition matches your blueprint. Unhappiness formula is that your current reality is not matching your blueprint. It's the same thing. Just opposite. So like I said, if you're unhappy generally, if you're not on the progress to being on how you think life should be, if you're not in progress and transit on the way to doing the work, going through the ups and downs in that direction, that's whenever the unhappiness unfolds in front of us, and that's how it bleeds out into different parts of our lives, right? So I want to say another thing also about money. I won't go into it more, but about money and on how it affects us. So there's a study, I forgot where the study was at, but they said that pretty much we have a lot of our incremental happiness. So we have a bunch of so once we have this happiness cap, and then related into money. So if we're making $25,000 a year, we'll be happy. If we end up making $45,000, damn, we get another jump. If we end up making $75,000, that's whenever we have the other biggest jump of happiness, like our dose of like now things are changing and now things are amazing. So that's pretty much the average. And what happens is that if we're making up to about $75,000 a year, we're not going to feel that much more happy. That the jump is not that big anymore. It starts dissipating. So it starts going down, and then that's how that money thing starts wearing out. So the billionaires, like I said, billionaire blows their brains out and stuff like that. That's how. I just wanted to insert that there, y'all. But anyways, we need to start looking. Now that say we actually understand what the heck is going on, like I understand the happiness formula. Now I understand the unhappiness formula. What can I start doing? The things we need to start doing is start looking at the should be's. The should be's we tell ourselves. Start paying attention. The first thing we can do to start changing is raising our awareness. Raise your awareness in what you're saying. Pay attention to what you say should be X, right? So I think life should be like this. See how that should be, and then pay attention to that. Write it down. I'm gonna have another episode on the importance of writing stuff down. So write it down so you're actually aware of it. So it's just not kind of just okay, like start just start leaning to that area a little bit, and that's literally all it should be. So start looking for this. But if you're not currently living your blueprint, right, in our current reality and the unhappiness, we're feeling suffering and pain and disappointment, frustration. That's how that's feeling. So if you're feeling like that, start looking for the should be's and start leaning into that. If you're really happy, like more power to you, welcome, happiness is a choice. I should put that on like a t-shirt or something. Like happiness is a choice. We have the choices every day. Like it's down to our decisions. Our current reality is made up of all the decisions we've made up until this point. Think about that. That's something else, not even, but think about that, So this is pretty much what happens whenever we start feeling that suffering and pain, whenever we're unhappy. We start looking for a thing to blame. It was something or someone or the past experience, and now that stunned me right there, and now it's my Achilles heel. Like that's what we start doing whenever we start feeling that frustration and unhappiness, is we start looking for things to blame. So just take that into point. But what we should do is, there's only two things we can really do if we're really in unhappiness, right? And I want to kind of close that. It's not going to be too much longer, But I'm going to say this. There's only a couple things that we can really do if we want more happiness in our life, more joy, more anything, is that we take action. The first we can do is take action. So say we're overweight or we don't have enough muscle and we're complaining about it. The first thing we can do is take action. Okay, go buy that gym membership and start working out. Eat less, eat better, eat healthy. That's the action part of it, That's the actual boom, boom, boom. This is what we can do, and we know it's gonna come there, Like, you just gotta take the action. The other thing we can do, there's two ways. There's like two antidotes for that. Take action. Go to the gym if you feel like you need to, Like if you think your blueprint of success and happiness is that you have to be fit, have a six pack, all that stuff. If that's what you believe, take action. You can change it. Literally start doing that. The second thing we can do is changing our blueprint, right? That's why I mentioned the blueprint, why it's kind of been like a whole theme of like this episode is that, okay, raise your awareness of what your blueprint is and change it. Like if I think only about these things, why not start looking and reaching for more? Look for something more. Like put higher goals for yourself, raise your standard for yourself. Like that's how it all plays into the part. Like I said, you can go look into all this more, but I'm just giving you guys the main summarized points of happiness. If we were to actually talk about it, change action. If you want more happiness, you can change it with action. If you don't want to change with action, or you can, or whatever, change your blueprint. Change the way you think about your happiness and what you think your life should be like. So all of that comes in together because, like I said, happiness equals progress. The meaning of life comes from these things of growth and creativity, comes from a standpoint of not me, but we, right? Like that's really where the juice is from. But also doing something that makes us feel connected with something other than ourselves. The whole meaning of life is having that standpoint of not me, but we. Secret to living is giving, having that whole growth and contribution, feeling connected with something else higher than what you think it is, So anyways, I just want to leave that there, y'all. I'm not going to drag it out longer than it has to. Appreciate you for sticking in that. Sometimes this, I'm going to leave with this, and he left it with this as well, is that failing to get our goal gives us our destiny. So if we're reaching and we're on the track or anything and we don't reach it, it's okay. Like if it doesn't happen, like we're not supposed to reach it because we're supposed to open our eyes to our destiny. So failing to reach your goal gives you your destiny. Think about that, y'all. If you guys enjoyed it, share it with a friend, tag somebody, let me know, palm trees, comments, and all that. Anyways, thank y'all. See you guys next week.